All right, my beautiful friends. We just pressed the Let's Go Live button. I cannot wait to get into some follow-up to yesterday's historic news. We've got a lot to unpack here today, a bunch of stuff to jump into, but as you can see, we are in a different location. Change of scenery. We are out and about. And so always good to make sure the tubes are working. Please let me know if they're not working so that I can make a correction on my end before I start rambling off into oblivion. But it's a beautiful Sunday, my friends, and I hope your day is going well. I hope that things have maybe calmed down for you a little bit. I know I am experiencing that. Yesterday, I was a little bit at a loss. It was a surreal experience to think that we were living through something like this. We all thought that this might happen, speculated about it, but to have it actually show up and land, and then to hear what the reaction was to it, and to start thinking about how the world will be changing now, new paradigms, new timeline, as we called it yesterday, it is something that causes a lot of emotion and tension. You can kind of feel it even in your neck. So hopefully things are better today, and you're feeling good. We are learning a lot more about the situation, and we're going to learn more about it today. So I've got a bunch of stuff queued up. What I'd like to do, a little bit of an outline for us today, is to run through some follow-up and some aftermath to yesterday, obviously. So we're going to break it up into some different sections. One, we're going to talk about Trump. Trump posted a statement. Melania posted a statement. Ivanka posted a statement. And we're going to go through that in turn. Trump was also out golfing today, apparently. And so we've got just a lot of coverage from him. He made some phone calls, some other statements. And the RNC is on schedule to start tomorrow. So not even skipping a beat. That's our president. We also then are going to talk about the shooter and the follow-up to the shooter, because there was a lot more analysis that came out. CNN, believe it or not, put together a nice play-by-play with some aerial recreations of what happened minute by minute. So we'll talk through a lot of that. We'll also hear some clips from some interviews with apparently some classmates of the shooter. Apparently the shooter also showed up in a BlackRock video. So there's some weird stuff. And I've got a couple excerpts from some people who would know about how badly this thing was a security failure. So we'll read through some of those things and see what that reaction looks like. Also got reaction from the FBI. Secret Service also had an update today. Not much for us. We'll take a look at what the spokesman said and what the FBI said here in a bit. Then we'll talk about, like we called yesterday, I can't even believe how quickly this happened, but there's an article from Semaphore. Apparently, Reid Hoffman and his communist compatriot were plotting to embed in the media, to seed the story that the entire assassination was staged. I'm not kidding you. It's going to be in the article. And guess who's behind it? It's the same people we were talking about last night. The Russians. So the Russians are the people who like to stage assassination attempts. I'm not kidding. We're going to read it. So that's coming up. Reid Hoffman and the rest of them. Then we'll poke around the media, see how irresponsible they are. They were saying there were loud noises and there were little booms and popping noises going down. You have to be a moron to think that. I mean, what we all saw, were gunshot wounds, dead bodies, heads blown off of people, with all due respect. It was absolutely insane for them to even play this little game. But they did, because they're maniacs. We've also got some stories from the New York Times. I've got clips from Martha Raddatz and other people saying, whoa, 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 okay, don't get agitated over there, MAGA. Everybody just relax, because you might incite some violence. And we're going, oh my gosh, you maniacs have been calling Trump Adolf for the last 3.5 years. We've got some clips from Joe Biden, Alex Soros. We'll take a little stroll down memory lane and remind ourselves about some of the things that they posted. And then we'll wrap it up with some reaction from Ron DeSantis. We had Josh Hawley demanding that he's going to get answers from the Senate. And we also have Mike Johnson, who's out explaining more about what he intends to do. And then, of course, we'll hear from you. It is a beautiful Sunday, my friends. I know it's been a very tense last couple of days. There has been a lot going on. We still don't have a ton of answers to a lot of this, but we're going to see what we can unpack here today. Grateful to be going through this moment in history with you together. It's a surreal experience still, so I'm grateful that we get to go through it together, because there's nowhere else I'd rather be. All right, so as I mentioned, let's get started with an update. The day after the event, the assassination attempt of Donald Trump, Trump wakes up the next day and he is good to go. He is now talking about his love for the people who care for him. So this was posted over by the Storm Redux. And you may have heard this, you may have not, but he got this one from Fox News. This Fox News host is named Lawrence Jones. Says, I just spoke with President Trump, and Trump just said, can you just tell everybody that I love them? Oh, man, what a guy. Just tell him I love him and I appreciate him, all right? So here's what that message sounded like. And this guy doesn't even really, I think, know how to process it. He's like, this dude just got shot in the ear. Here is Fox reporting.
Guys, I just finished talking to the former president. You would think that he would be down. I mean, he's in the saddle. He's excited. And I said, is there anything that I could, share with the audience? And he paused for a second and he said, can you just tell him I love him? Just tell him I love him.
We love you too, Mr. President.
I appreciate them. And he said, did you see the people in the audience? Typically when shots are fired, there would be a stampede. But he said, did you hear them stand firm with me, stand firm with the country? And this is a president that wanted to let everyone know, let the world know that he's resilient. I mean, we talk all the time about what leaders do behind closed doors when tragedy happens and when they've not even met with gunfire. Most presidents aren't met with gunfire. We saw how he responds when gunfire is there. And I don't think that should be lost on us. But in a moment where he could be focused on himself, he just wanted me to let everyone know that he loved them. He loves them.
We love you too, Mr. President, and we appreciate what you've done for us. And what he said here, I think, is very, very important. And I came across a very interesting tweet here where you can kind of compare and contrast this, right? This was courage under fire, as they say that. Like literally, he was being shot at in the head. And you got to see his instinctual reaction to how all this went down. And it was on display for all of America, and it was about as epic as you could get, to be quite honest about it. So what that translates to, I think, is, I don't know, $5 billion of campaign spending or something. I mean, can you put a price on that? Honestly, can you put a price on this? No. It's like $1 trillion of campaign magnitude. Trump's gravitas, his courage, right? His fortitude, it's just beamed across all of America on repeat every single day. So the left is absolutely upset about it. But what's interesting is it was instinctual with Trump, right? It was he just did it. And other people have not done that. So I came across this very interesting post from this guy, Nassim Taleb. He's the author of a book we reference here a lot called Anti-Fragile. And he was saying that, this is something that we might see more of, in other words. So you may have heard people speculate, prognosticate that this is just the beginning, baby. We're just getting warmed up. Once the seal is broken, then the floodgates are opened and nothing stops from there, right? We can just see this becomes a norm in our American political system. Now, other people might say that's insane, but there's precedent for it. So here's Nassim Taleb. He's a brilliant author, wrote Anti-Fragile, Black Swan, many other books. In fact, in our studio, we have his compendium seated in the studio behind us. So what we have here is just an excerpt. So what he did is, I think he was talking to an AI or something, but he's talking about Charles de Gaulle, French military officer. So we're going to go back to France, World War II. He was the president of France. Several assassination attempts happened to him, right? So we're drawing parallels with history. We're asking ourselves about patterns in history. And if we go back, can we see something similar happening here in the United States? So this is a pattern that happened with this guy. So August 1962, there was 140 bullets fired at his car. Him and his wife were driving, and they both survived. September 9th, there was a bomb. 1962, there was another assassination attempt. Then a sniper on July 14th tried to shoot him from another parade. Same thing goes on, right? You get the deal. So there's like 6 different assassination attempts on one dude. And what was curious about this is there's this very interesting anecdote, right? It's a well-known story that says when Charles de Gaulle was getting shot at, his wife was in the car. And the wife was in the car with Charles de Gaulle. And apparently when the attack began, Charles de Gaulle ducked, right? Because when you're getting shot at, you duck. And so the wife came out and said, "What the heck you doing, Charles?" Said, "Please, Charles, behave like a de Gaulle," right? She said that ducking was undignified, unbecoming of someone of de Gaulle's stature and reputation, right? You know, face the danger with the stoicism and courage associated with his name. And so he straightened up in his seat after the remark. Obviously, the bullets are not going to go through the car. So don't be a little weenie. The car is going to protect you. We've been shot at many times. So the story has become part of the de Gaulle legend, right? Illustrating the instinct for and the courage and the dignity that came with the position. And it's this anecdote from the 1960s that has, I'm sure, persevered through the French culture. You know, I'm just learning about it now. But the point is, Trump, he ducked to avoid being shot and killed, right, at that moment. But he stood up and he stood proud and he said, "Fight, fight, fight." And so, I mean, it is just like the opposite of this, right? Nobody had to tell him to do that. He just he just stood up and did it. So it was just a wild juxtaposition between these two stories. And I think it makes me a little nervous. It forebodes that maybe there will be more of these, right? There's a pattern that's happened here. This guy had 6 attempts on him before they got it under control. So maybe something like that parallels and happens here in the United States. So when I was yesterday saying it makes me nervous because it's like the Pandora's box has been opened a little bit. It's because of reasons like this. Now other psychopaths are going to feel enabled, that they have some, empowered to go take out the new Hitler. So Trump is doing great, as we saw. He says he loves America. He took a little bit some time outside today, and I can't even believe it, but this is what was posted by Dominic Trippi. And apparently, Trump is also golfing today. So this guy posted this, Dominic Michael Trippi, and he says Trump was out golfing today, right? So this was a TikTok video.
Mr. President!
So I don't know if that's accurate or not, but what I'm looking for is to see the ear, right? We're waiting to see what the ear looks like, because that is going to be a scar for the history books of all time greatest scars. So it's going to be amazing. Now, Trump said he's good. So based on yesterday's terrible events, I was going to delay my trip to Wisconsin and the Republican National Convention by 2 days, but I have just decided that I cannot allow a, quote, shooter or potential assassin to force change the scheduling or anything else. Therefore, I will be leaving for Milwaukee as scheduled at 3:30 p.m. today. Thank you, Donald J. Trump. So he looks like he is out and about. I don't know if he was out around at Mar-a-Lago or what he was doing over there, if that's an old video or not, I don't know. But he is out and about. You can see this is him landing in Milwaukee. So he's getting ready for the RNC, not to be delayed or deterred, shot in the ear or head or not.
Force One into Mitchell International Airport there in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. You can see some smoke there in the foreground, but his plane touching down there less than 24 hours until the RNC, the GOP convention for the Republicans. Plenty of delegates on the ground as it will become officially official. As he will be the Republican nominee for president. And we'll learn, hopefully, over the next few days about who will be on the ticket with him. So we're following all of this very closely here on Live Now from Fox. All right, let's continue with our coverage.
Okay, so Trump is arriving there. RNC starts tomorrow. We're pretty excited to continue to see how that develops. Melania Trump came out and posted a statement today. So let's take a look at what she wrote. She says, from Melania Trump's office, dated July 14th, says, "I am thinking of you now, my fellow Americans. We have always been a unique nation. America, the fabric of our gentle nation, is tattered. But our courage and common sense must ascend and bring us back together as one. When I watched that violent bullet strike my husband, Donald, I realized my life and Barron's life were on the brink of devastating change. I am grateful to the brave Secret Service agents and law enforcement officials who risked their own lives to protect my husband. To the families of the innocent victims who are now suffering from this heinous act, I humbly offer my sincere sympathy. Your need to summon your inner strength for such a terrible reason saddens me. A monster who recognized my husband as an inhuman political machine attempted to wring out Donald's passion, his laughter, ingenuity, love of music, and inspiration. The core facets of my husband's life, his human side, were buried below the political machine. Donald, the generous and caring man who I have been with through the best of times and the worst of times. Let us not forget that differing opinions, says Melania, policy and political games are inferior to love. Our personal, structural, and life commitment until death is at serious risk. Political concepts are simple when compared to us, human beings. We are all humans, and fundamentally, instinctively, we want to help one another. American politics are only one vehicle that can uplift our communities. Love, compassion, kindness, and empathy are necessities. And let us remember that when the time comes to look beyond the left and right, beyond the red and the blue, we all come from families with the passion to fight for a better life together while we are here in this earthly realm. Dawn is here again. Let us reunite now. This morning, ascend above the hate, the vitriol, and the simple-minded ideas that ignite violence. We all want a world where respect is paramount, family is first, and love transcends. We can realize this world again. Each of us must demand to get it back. We must insist that respect fills the cornerstone of our relationships again. I am thinking of you, my fellow Americans. The winds of change have arrived. Oh, is that an understatement of understatements? No doubt, we can feel it. For those of you who cry in support, I thank you. I commend those of you who have reached out beyond the political divide. Thank you for remembering that every single politician is a man or a woman with a loving family. Nice statement from Melania Trump, as usual. Very classy and above the fray. I know a lot of us are quite angry, but Melania brings in a nice sense of calm. Okay, thanks, Melania, for turning the knobs down a little bit. We appreciate it. Here's Ivanka Trump. Says, 2 years ago today, my mom passed away. I believe she was watching over Dad last night during the attempt on his life. I miss her every day and pray for the safety of the family and the friends she left behind. And this is Ivanka and her mother. So, Ivana. Yes. So this is Ivanka. And a nice statement, and I think many people are agreeing with that, because as we recreate the scene, we're wondering how on earth this happened. So I have a couple of screenshots here that have Trump's ear in it. And so if that's going to make you squeamish, change the channel right now. Right now. So this came over from Sovereign Bra, who says, you know, it blows my mind how narrowly Trump escaped death. He says, watch the replay. He turned his head 0.3 seconds before the impact. And we were trying to do this yesterday. Remember on the show, we were sitting here going like this, going, what if you just move your head like this, just turn it, you know, and just like, wow, it's just like a small sliver, right, at a tiny angle like this, and you're in the clear. So you can watch Trump in this speech.
Take a look at what happened.
Okay, then he ducks.
Take a look at what happened.
Right there. I mean, you can see that head pivot. Now, we're going to watch this again in super slow-mo. But watch. This is the image here. Without Trump's head movement, back half of his brain is blown out. With Trump's head movement, it's an ear. Crazy, man. So, okay. And it's very curious. I've heard a lot of people saying that this is just a terrible shot. This is a terrible shooter. This guy's an idiot or whatever. It's like, hey, he was off by like an inch. Okay? Just barely. And if Trump hadn't moved, it would have been an absolute kill shot, headshot, man. So I don't know if he was a bad shot. I don't know if this was just some amateur who was on, you know, it's pretty dang close. Pretty dang close. Had Trump not made a final little nudge, had Jesus not come down and just said, Mr. President, right? He might have had a hole in his head. We might be having a whole different story today. So it's just wild. And it just clipped his ear. You can see it's right there. So some people are saying to me, he wasn't shot in the head. So I don't know. It looks pretty damn close to me. Okay. It looks like it grazed the entire upper portion of the ear, right? Like it like skimmed the like that. It didn't get the outer portion of the ear. For everybody who wants to get squirrely about this. Shot in the head, honestly. So it's, I mean, look, it's about as close to getting shot in the head as you can get without dying from getting shot in the head, right? How about that? So can we just compromise on that one? So here, Sovereign Bra had that one. And here's another post. This one from Colin Rugg comes out and says, Donald Trump says a last millisecond head tilt likely saved his life. Slowed down footage, which we're going to play here in super slow-mo, will show us if Trump hadn't moved his head, the bullet would likely have hit the rear of his head, ending his life, as you can see in that image, which we'll look at. Trump says he turned his head, looked at the illegal immigration statistics, saved his life. Those horrible statistics. And everybody looks like, holy crap, those are terrible. Saves his life. That chart that I was going over saved my life, Trump reportedly said to Ronnie Jackson. He said the Border Patrol saved my life. If I hadn't pointed at that chart and turned my head to look at it, that bullet would have hit me right in the head. Unreal. Unreal. Okay, so you can see the same image. Now we're going to watch this. Now I'm going to put myself over on this side of the screen. And we're going to watch this. This will be normal speed. Then it's going to be slowed down. Then it's going to be ultra slowed down. And some interesting things are happening. Like, you can also watch the background here. Like, this woman here, she just drops like a sack of potatoes, man. Just first shot, drops like a sack of potatoes. And we'll watch it a couple times here. Here's normal speed.
We see something that said, take a look at what happened. We see something that
half
said,
speed,
take a
0.5.
look at what happened. Said,
Last minute head tilt. Watch.
take a look what happened.
Right there. Right there. Boom. And he got hit. Then he hits it. Insane.
We see something that said, take a look at what happened. We see something that said, take a look at what happened.
Boom. My friends.
Take a look at what happened.
Ah! Unbelievable.
We see something that said, take a look at what happened.
Okay, we're going to watch it just one more time. It's unbelievable, okay? I can see your comments. It's just, you could feel it. He just barely moved, man. Just barely. Whoo! Yeah, it's wild to even think about it. He just nudged.
We see something that said, take a look at what happened. Said, take a look at what happened.
Wild. Wild. It was a great shot. I mean, it was a great shot. He just moved his head at the last minute. Whew, man. Okay, so close call, my friends. Very close call. And we have some other individuals who obviously did not make it. We're going to talk about the gentleman who unfortunately passed away, Corey, here in a second. But someone else was shot, and it was in fact a nephew of Ronnie Jackson, a representative, former doctor, and I think maybe a current doctor. But here's what he said. He said he was also having some bad news in his family. Someone was shot that he knows, his nephew.
Yes, Sean. So my nephew was at the event tonight, and they were in the friends and family pen, and they heard the shots, and everybody dropped to the ground. And I don't know if you guys have the picture or not, but he was grazed in the neck. A bullet crossed his neck, cut his neck, and he was bleeding.
This is your
he got up.
Congressman, this is your nephew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is my nephew. They were there. I'd set them up. They went to the rally. They were in the friends and family pen, which was just to the president's right, down a little bit lower on the left on the screen, but to the president's right in the line of fire. And they heard shots coming in. Apparently, There was someone also that were 4 or 5 rows behind them that was critically injured. Whenever he was shot, they realized that a bullet had grazed his neck. My sister-in-law had encouraged him to go to the first aid tent, to the triage tent. They went to the triage tent, and when they got to the triage tent, while they were there was another member of the crowd, unfortunately, that was in the triage tent that was on a gurney in the tent that had a devastating wound, had a critical wound to the head, that was dead.
Unbelievable. Okay, so we're going to talk about Corey here in a minute, the man who passed. But as we saw yesterday, there was a bunch of madness about what happened and when, and CNN has a pretty interesting visual timeline that they assembled. And so let's take a look at what they've created for us here. They say, we got videos, we got maps, we got all sorts of stuff. It's nice graphical work that they've done, so let's zoom in on it. You can see this is where the rally was, Butler, Pennsylvania, for those of us not from this part of the country. And looks like it's not too far outside of Pittsburgh, right, the big city nearby. The Butler Farm Showgrounds is on this road. It's about 5 miles from downtown Butler, home to the Butler Farm Show, which is an annual agriculture fair. So this is about where it happened. Butler Farm Showgrounds, approximate location of the stage, and this looks like it's the entire facility. So one question that we had yesterday was, what other buildings were in the area that this person could be perched upon? And why was the one building that they were on not covered? And you can see this is the other building that the shooter was on, and it's in pretty close proximity to the stage. Obviously, everybody's wondering what that was all about. So that's the scene. My question was, where are the other close buildings? You can see there are some other buildings over here on the far left. There's some other buildings that look like they're actually on the farm ground. So I wonder if those were covered or what. But this carries on. You can see at 6:05 Eastern Time, 6:05:12, Trump starts addressing his supporters, speaks for 6 minutes before the scene erupts into chaos. 6 minutes he's on stage. He's in the middle of speaking when someone in the crowd is heard saying, "He's got a gun," as the video captures someone in the crowd repeating, "On the roof, he's got a gun." 3 shots ring out. So right around that time, a pause and 5 more shots in rapid succession are heard. "Stay under here," an attendee says in the video. And so we heard that yesterday, right? Pop, pop, pop. Then we heard what sounded like, to me, different gunshots. Pop, 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 pop. And that sounded like that was the Secret Service firing back. So one coming this way, the other coming that way. But that was just pure speculation. So at 6:11:33, Trump pauses mid-sentence as shots ring out. We just went through the head turn. Just watched how he barely had his head blown off. Trump touches the right side of his face. Trump takes cover as the U.S. Secret Service agents rush to the podium saying, "Get down, get down." Now, while the gunman is positioned outside the rally venue, here's a nice graphic, the distance between him and where Trump is speaking is only 400 to 500 feet. So here's the location of the gunman, 400 to 500 feet. There's Trump. And our Secret Service, it's like, anyone on the roofs over there? I don't think so. Okay, see you later. So that is what it sounds like. Trump remains low to the ground, surrounded by agents. He gets shot in the head, who can be heard on the rally microphone discussing which vehicle will be used to move the former president away from the scene. Seconds later, multiple agents say shooters down. Law enforcement and tactical gear rifles now on stage. Woman screams heard, following by the sound of another shot. Here's a transcript of the audio at the podium. Secret Service. Female agent says, "What are we doing? What are we doing? Where are we going?" Man's yelling, "Gunshots." Then woman screams, "Ah! Go around to the spare. Go around to the spare," says male agent 2. 3 appears. "Move to the spare. Hold. When you're ready. On you. Ready. Move. Up. Move. Go, go, go." "Hawkeye's here," says male agent 2. Hawkeye's code name for the counter-assault team. Female says, "Hawkeye's here. Move into the spare. Spare, get ready. Spare, get ready. You ready? Shooters down. Shooters down. We good to move? Shooters down. We're good to move. Are we clear? We're clear. We're clear. Let's move. Let's move." The suspected shooter fired from the building rooftop before he was killed by Secret Service personnel. And here's one video where this person, we played this yesterday, is zooming in on where this person was, right? So there is the shooter who is no longer with us, thankfully. The agents prepare to move Trump off stage, but he tells them to wait. Wait. With blood dripping from his ear, he lifts his fist into the air. Yeah! And he says, "Fight, fight, fight," 3 times while pumping his fist, baby. Filled with MAGA energy all throughout the world. You can see here is a high-res photo. You can see all the people in the crowd are even reacting. Now that woman, man, she dropped like a sack of potatoes. How does she drop so fast? She's not even in this photo. She dropped before Trump dropped. So what happened to that one? What happened to that woman? Yeah, anyways, it's very curious. This guy knows what's happening. This woman apparently knows what's happening. They've heard gunshots before. This person over here knows what's happening. And the rest probably don't even can't even hear it maybe. But Trump is ducking. That woman's long gone. Then we see some tactical folks jump up on the stage. What a shot this is. Oh my gosh. Unbelievable. Unbelievable, my friends. I mean, this is like, you're just, you can't even, iconic, surreal. These images will last in infamy forever. It's just wild. So there is another one. That one will too. You know, a photograph like this, an image like this, it's so powerful. It's like 9/11. It's like Iwo Jima. In style, in perspective, with the flag, with the pole, even though I don't know that the pole's really necessary to the photo, but it's like an Iwo Jima raising of the statue. It's like the firefighters on 9/11. It's epic. It is beyond epic. There's no other words for it. It's just insane that Trump is Trump. There is no one like him. There's nothing else to say. It's Donald Trump. Unreal. All right, so it goes on. Here's more transcript. Same audio, Secret Service. Trump says, let me get my shoes. Let me get my shoes. I got you, sir. I got you, sir. Let me get my shoes on. Let me get my shoes on. Another, hold on, your head is bloody. Hold on, your head is bloody. Sir, we've got to move to the car, sir. Well, let me get my shoes. Hold on, okay? Wait. He then fist pumps to the crowd. He mouths, fight, fight, fight. 3 times, a move met with cheers by the crowd. And as you know, everyone stood back to their feet. Because they had a strong leader who is leading. We got to move. We got to move. 6:51, Trump spokesman comes out. Says president is fine. He's been evaluated at a medical facility. Statement is released 40 minutes after the shooting. Stephen Chung posts this. President Trump thanks law enforcement and first responders for their quick action during this heinous act. He is fine and is being checked out at a local medical facility. More details will follow. 2.5 hours later, after he was taken off the stage, Trump says in a Truth Social statement, I knew immediately that something was wrong. He said, I want to thank the Secret Service and all of law enforcement for their rapid response to the shooting that just took place in Butler, Pennsylvania. Most importantly, I want to extend my condolences to the family of the person at the rally who was killed, and also to the family of another person that was badly injured. It is incredible that such an act can take place in our country. Nothing is known at this time about the shooter, who is now dead. I was shot with a bullet that pierced the upper part of my right ear. I knew immediately that something was wrong, in that I heard a whizzing sound, shots, and immediately felt the bullet ripping through the skin. Much bleeding took place, so I realized then what was happening. God bless America. Unbelievable, this man. So he continues. Now, Trump's motorcade then departs the Butler Memorial Hospital. He was medically evaluated after the shooting. Here's what it looked like. Not much audio, but a little visual there so that we can see the president leaving the hospital. Looks like that is the vehicle. Get well soon, Mr. President. Godspeed. So this is the scene leaving the hospital. Then Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro says late Saturday night that Trump had left the Pennsylvania area. Deputy campaign director said Trump is strong and resilient and will continue to be fighting for America. And so here was some video that was posted of Trump getting off of Trump Force One as he was making his way home after being shot in the head. Using the big boy stairs too. Nice job there. So, all right, this is a functional person, as we know. Now, this is not so much a functional person. We'll see what they can come up with here. But the Secret Service has responded. They say, all right, here's the latest information from our investigation. We are grateful to the Secret Service team and our law enforcement partners for their swift action. Our thoughts go out to the families affected by this tragedy. They posted this. Said, during the former President Trump campaign rally, shots were fired. U.S. Secret Service responded. One spectator was killed. Nothing new there. We also had this one from Guglielmi today. He dropped this one at 4:38 this morning. Said, there's an untrue assertion out there that a member of Trump's team requested additional security resources and that those were rebuffed. This is absolutely false. In fact, we added protective measures and technology and capabilities as part of the increased campaign travel tempo. Oh, okay. So then why did he get shot in the head? How'd that happen? You want to explain that one there, Anthony? You have an answer for that one? I don't think you do. What type of technology did you have? A ladder? Did you bring a ladder so that someone could climb up on the roof? That might be a good idea. I don't know. So that's the Secret Service. Now, the FBI, who, as we know, would be very happy if that shooter would have been successful. But they're here, and they're responding. They posted this. They said, here's our updated statement on the ongoing incident that took place today in Butler, Pennsylvania. They said, all right, the FBI, same FBI who's raided Trump's residence and took pictures of Melania's bedroom and Barron's bedroom for no good reason at all. No reason at all. Not even a good reason. Only bad reasons. And also set Trump up in 2016 with the Russian PP tape and the Steele dossier, set him up again after with Mueller and all these other things, right? FBI's involved in rigging everything against this man. They would love to have him in prison. They posted this. Now they're in charge of the investigation. It says the FBI has assumed the role of the lead law enforcement agency. Oh, great. Great. In the investigation of the incident involving former President Trump. Perfect. Great. Who's gonna run this? Christopher Wray. He's like, I'm gonna do this myself. Oh, great. Good. Special agents of the FBI Pittsburgh field office responded immediately to include crisis response team members and evidence response technicians. We will continue to support this investigation with the full resources of the FBI, along with our partners at the Secret Service, state and local law enforcement. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they'll call up James Comey and Andy McCabe and Peter Strzok. And they can all bring back them together. Bring the old crew to do some good old-fashioned investigation. And yeah, here is another interesting post from our friend Amuse. So poking around X again, we see here Amuse posted this. You know who he is, at Amuse. Highly recommend to follow him. It says, I will continue to update my prior reporting. But he says, look, first now, the sniper team is now being reported as members of the Secret Service, right? We didn't really know who they were yesterday. Was it local law enforcement on the roof? Was it Secret Service? We don't know. Second, it's also being reported that there was a second counter sniper team site as well, but he hasn't confirmed that. Now, the shooter position was obscured from counter snipers by a growth of trees, they say. The Google images may not show the current growth of the trees. And finally, the counter sniper teams were likely focused on potential threats much farther away than the building. They just assumed it was being watched by the local police. You know what they say about assumptions. This seems to be supported by the video that shows the sniper having to lower his aim just before shooting at the assassin, right? So we were wondering why this guy, remember yesterday on the stream, we were wondering why he picked himself up. It seems like he was scanning, right? He was scanning like you would imagine he's doing, looking at all the rooftops. Then he picks his head up. He's like, what? Then he gets back down, right? And so maybe that's because he was looking over. He was like looking way beyond in the distance for like a long distance shooter. But that's not what was the thing. So then he hears the shot. He goes, what? Where'd that come from, right? And then he pops up, zooms in, right there, gets back on the gun, and takes him out. So could be that. But again, why isn't that cover? It's like, wouldn't you go out kind of in concentric circles and just kind of expand your horizon, secure the inner perimeter? You don't need to secure the outer perimeter unless the inner perimeter is secure, you know? So, all right, sniper is up out here on the roof. Or let's call this guy the shooter, right? The shooter here. Sniper, counter sniper team here. Maybe unconfirmed. We had one casualty here. Don't know that there were two casualties. So Trump is here. So it's kind of a rough diagram. Local police in that area. And interesting report there. So we have that. We also had this one. Now, this fella here is named Eric D. Prince. He is an interesting individual. And he posted this. He says, hopefully the tragedy yesterday in Butler, PA, afterwards, hopefully we can all recognize that unaccountable, bloated bureaucracies continue to fail us as Americans. Yeah, that's true. And it doesn't matter really what bureaucracy we're talking about, right? You can go to any government entity and say, it's kind of a crap fest here, right? The border's a mess. We have a lot of concerns with our military. We've got concerns with our State Department, Department of Education. We saw what the CDC was capable of. We see what the DOJ is doing. Why would the Secret Service be any different? You think like one of these things is not like the others? No, it's a giant government bureaucracy run by Kimberly Cheadle, right? And we just understand how this is happening across institutions across the board. So he says, look, Trump is alive today solely due to bad wind estimate by an evil would-be assassin, or we might say divine intervention or whatever, but yeah, it's wild, very small margin. As the graphics show, the full value wind of just 5 miles per hour was enough to displace the unconfirmed but likely light 55 grain bullet 2 inches from DJT's intended forehead to his ear. Trump was not saved by U.S. Secret Service brilliance. The fact that the Secret Service allowed a rifle-armed shooter within 150 yards to a pre-planned event is either malice or it's massive incompetence. Clearly, there was adequate, uncontrolled dead space for a shooter to move into position and take multiple aim shots. Watching the newsreel, one can hear how proximate the shooter is by the very short time lapse between the crack of the arriving bullet, which is supersonic, to the boom of the muzzle blast, which is sonic. The law enforcement sniper, unclear if Secret Service, we now think it is, in newsreels was clearly overwhelmed as his face came off the rifle. But again, that might be explained by the fact that he was zooming out. But again, why is he doing that when there's a shooter closer? Clearly they were watching the shooter, but apparently they have a no first shoot policy. The only positive action was an apparent 488-yard shot by one U.S. Secret Service sniper, which was dispatched the assassin after he shot Trump and killed others in the crowd, killing one other. He says, in my old business of providing diplomatic security in 2 active war zones, we were expected to execute the basics or we would be fired. Clearly, the Secret Service failed at the basics of a secure perimeter, and once shots were fired, their extraction was clumsy. They left Trump highly exposed to the attacks. It looked like they had never drilled together because those responsives should be autonomic. Will there be accountability is a great question. Is anybody going to get arrested for this? Will there be a trial for negligence or criminality? Or not? Just an accident. Everybody's just going to move on. That's not the Washington way. Unserious and unworthy people in positions of authority got us to this near disaster. Merit and execution must be the only deciding factors in hiring and leadership, not the social engineering priority of the day. Nothing in Washington is going to do this, though. Trump is right to question the competence of those protecting him because they almost failed yesterday in every way. Nature abhors a vacuum, and there will be always other options. Most importantly, let us as Americans come together and solve this problem. You can see here are some other images. These are images from a SNEAL sniper instructor at Red Sky LLC. So it looks like this guy could have just gotten right up into that position, walks right around this building, right up, sits on top of this location, has access to a direct line of sight to Trump. Here's another image. Trump rally stage area, very close range. It's a manufacturing company is what it looks like. Sure, they're having a bad day today. And here's another scene. This is an interesting image. Look how close that is. This looks like an aerial render, but that is extremely close. I mean, shoot, it's like you could hit a golf ball or something and hit him. I mean, I don't know how far that is, but I mean, that's wild. So it's very close. And yeah, it's just a miracle that his head moved ever so slightly. Now, a little bit more has come out. So this came over from Colin Rugg. Thomas Matthew Crooks was reportedly rejected from his school's rifle team. This is curious. He had some off-color jokes and stuff. Former classmates claim he tried out for the rifles team, but didn't do so good. The school's range was 50 feet long, 21 feet wide. The Post says he once shot from the 7th lane, which was the closest to the right wall, and he missed so bad he hit the left wall. He tried out. It was such a comically bad shot, he was unable to make the team, and he left after the first day. So wait, what? Then he's hitting Trump in the head? Huh? We noticed a few things Thomas said and how he interacted with other people. He said some things that were kind of concerning. The video below is the former classmate telling NBC about how Crooks was allegedly bullied. Here's NBC with this short clip.
I mean, he would sit alone at lunch. I mean, he was just an outcast, and you know how kids are nowadays, so they're going to see someone like that, and they're going to target him because they think it's funny or whatever. So it's the best way I can describe it. And it's honestly kind of sad. Like, I don't want to say this is what provoked it, but you never know.
Yeah. You said he was a loner?
Yeah. I want to say he was a loner more because he was quiet, but like he was just bullied. Like he was bullied so much.
This is high school.
Yeah.
What did they, do you remember at all what they said to him or called him?
No. He was just made fun of, I guess, for the way he dressed or his appearance.
Okay, so I always take those reports with a grain of salt. A lot of people just want to talk to cameras. A lot of people just want their time, hey, I was on the news. I was on the nightly news or whatever. So who knows if he knew him or what the story is. But pretty interesting that the Post was also reporting that he tried out for the rifle team. Also found this one. A lot of people are sharing this image. Don't know how true it is or not, but looks like a valid screenshot from A. Westgate. It says, Trump shooter was in a BlackRock video. Just curious. And I don't know how they found that, but you can see this is an old BlackRock video. It looks like May 16th some year. BlackRock, who we impact financial freedom for teachers. He's in there as an extra or something. So very weird. We also saw this. CNN was reporting that the shooter had explosive material inside the car and his residence. And I saw a clip that Steven Crowder, I think, had made his way over to, or somebody from his crew made their way over there and the street was blocked. The shooter from former President Trump's rally on Saturday had explosive material inside his car and his residence. The FBI has publicly identified the guy. He was killed. Authorities used the gun to determine the shooter's identity as he did not have identification on him. That's curious. So the gun led to the identity. Yeah, we're wondering, how does a guy who can't hit the broadside of a barn shoot Trump in the head? Even if it is close. I don't know. All right, well, here is another report. Susan Crabtree, who is the White House political correspondent, national security correspondent for Real Clear Politics, writes all over the place, says, all right, here's my reporting on why the Secret Service did not shoot until after the shooter engaged, right? So we have some theories. We have total incompetence. We have maybe partial incompetence. We have like total incompetence is, they were just missed it totally. Let's say partial competence is they're scanning a far range. They have no basis for believing that anybody would be close. Then they see it. Then they react. So maybe it's not their fault. It's local cops' fault or something like that. Then we have, that's on one side, right? It's just negligence. On the other side, we have willful intent, or let's say willful negligence, right? We're just going to let a mistake happen so that a problem occurs, but we didn't hire an assassin. We didn't go on 1-800 assassins and buy somebody and pay him money to come kill Trump. No, but we're just, we know it's the law of big numbers. If you have 300 million people, a very small percentage of those people are going to be absolutely crazy, right? Just do the math on this. If you say 300 million, 1% of them is crazy. 1% of the crazies are maybe capable of assassinating somebody, right? Like that level of crazy, you're still talking about thousands of people. So it's just the law of averages, the law of big numbers. And you then have a pressure cooker environment of where you have individuals who are told Trump is Nazi, Trump is Hitler, Trump is ending American democracy, Trump is a dictator, he's going to be a dictator on day one, he loves Nazis, he says they're fine people, he's going to put women in birthing facilities, they're just going to pop out babies like every 9 months like this, and you're all going to die. Right? If they say that, a certain portion of those 1% of people will believe that, and they'll take action. So here, on that other side, we have, well, they just don't have to actually incentivize an assassin. They just kind of have to create an environment and just like look the other way. Well, just leave a rooftop uncovered. Oh, I wonder if anybody's going to walk up there. And you do enough rallies, you have enough of these locations, somebody does. And what was this guy, who was he talking to on the internet? Or who was he communicating with? Sending messages back and forth on different groups and things like that. Will we ever know? And who was on the other end of those messages? So anyway, Susan Crabtree responds, says, here's my reporting on why they didn't shoot until after they engaged. There's an investigation already underway, months before Trump's assassination attempt. And it looks like House Republicans were already investigating them for DEI reasons. Now, the blowback against the Secret Service started within the hour of the assassination attempt and continued even after Trump and others credited the agency with saving Trump's life by quickly killing the shooter, crawling across a nearby rooftop. Yeah, there's no question. We're glad the Secret Service ultimately did their job and killed the guy and saved lives, but it was also a failure, right? It's not like close doesn't count for their job. It just doesn't. Some jobs are like that, unfortunately, but that's what they signed up for. But a source within the Secret Service community tells Real Clear Politics that the agency rules of engagement in this situation are to wait until the president is fired upon to return fire. Is this like real? Like, this is from a real reporter, by the way. This is, Susan Crabtree, Real Clear Politics. She has a source who says the Secret Service's rules of engagement are only shoot someone if you're being shot. What? The president? So if somebody is like arming at him, like cops don't even have to do that. Okay, you just pull on a cop and you're shot, right? You just, their cell phone, bye, right? Not good. They're not waiting until you're lobbing projectiles at them to engage. To wait until the president is fired upon to return fire. So, okay, somebody needs to verify that. Someone says you want to take a shot and you find out the guy was holding a telescope, the source suggested. Says, quote, the Secret Service is by nature reactive, and you better be right when you do react or you're effed. Now, the Secret Service protocol requires that a counter sniper, aware of a potential shooter, to radio directly to intelligence division team to respond and investigate. In this case, the investigation may have been cut short by the shooter, firing his weapon. So the counter sniper then fired as quickly as possible in return. It's like, is this a real agency? Is this a real agency? The source praised the counter sniper who acquired the target and responded within 3 seconds, calling their performance incredible. Now, the counter snipers are highly trained and extremely accurate. Others with law enforcement and military backgrounds want to know whether the Secret Service utilized drones, small unmanned aircraft systems, to provide detailed situational awareness. If the agency did not use drones, why not? The experts want to know. The use of drones has been a controversial issue within the agency since at least 2016. Why? Implementing drones would have provided detailed line of sight analysis and aerial surveillance that would have easily identified the rooftop as a potential threat area. The Secret Service has access to all the best imagery and elevation data, the expert told Real Clear Politics. I'm not saying they didn't use drone, but it's an open question. Now, the once vaunted Secret Service lost some of its respect after a string of fence-jumping incidents and other security lapses came to light. At the beginning of the Trump administration, a senior special agent in the Secret Service came under fire for suggesting in a Facebook post that she wouldn't take a bullet for Trump. Carrie O'Grady, the former agent in question, was placed on leave, but was allowed to retire with full benefits, which outraged many in the Secret Service community. Yeah, why would, she's obviously doesn't believe in even the organization. The agency more recently has also come under scrutiny for its diversity, equity, and inclusion policies after the female agency attached to Vice President Kamala Harris's detail identified had an apparent mental breakdown and physically attacked her senior officers. Sheesh. So some woman I don't blame this woman. I have a lot of empathy for this woman. So there was a Secret Service agent. Her name was Michelle Herzeg. She had to work for Kamala Harris. Could you imagine that? obviously you'd go insane. Obviously. Kamala's cackling like every 2 minutes. How long could you last? Like 15 minutes? If she laughs every 2 minutes, you get a 1 minute break, 2 minutes on, 1 minute off. How long would you last? 8 minutes, you're dead. Most of us, me, I'd be dead. 8 minutes, dead. So this woman, she did take bullets. She took bullets every day in the form of verbal assaults on her eardrums. She took multiple assaults. Anyways, you can see she had a breakdown, went nuts. An agency spokesman called the issue a medical incident, but other members of the Secret Service launched a petition over the DEI policies. Now, in addition, after the attempted assassination, conservatives blasted Benny Thompson, the raking Democrat, for introducing a bill that would have stripped Trump of Secret Service protection because they want him dead. After the attempted assassination, which killed one innocent spectator and injured at least others, Thompson tweeted, "Glad the former president's safe. Gratefully for law enforcement's fast response." And is that what Benny Thompson said? So he didn't even proofread his token tweet. I think Benny Thompson and, of course, Liz Cheney would just love it if they didn't have to deal with Trump anymore. And, yeah, all right. So I was trying to find his tweet. Anyways, so that was interesting. Very interesting report from Real Clear Politics about what may or may not have happened. We're trying to parse through what this is. Is it just gross incompetence? Is it some incompetence? Is it willful incompetence? Is it or negligence, intentional incompetence, right? Wanting to allow this to happen? Or is it actually intentional? Is somebody wanting this to happen and organizing it, pushing the levers to make it happen? Who knows? More will be revealed, no doubt. Now we have to pay memory to Corey Comparatori. And I've heard different pronunciations of his name, so I apologize if I'm botching that. But Byron Donalds was paying his respects to Corey, who did die at the rally, said he was protecting his wife and daughter. Unbelievable. He died a hero because he lived like a hero. We need to pray for the family. Thank you, Byron, for that. And we had a couple Facebook posts that the family shared. Here was one set of comments. So Byron shared this one from Allison Comparatori. She wrote, "Yesterday, time stopped, and when it started again, my family and I started living a real life nightmare. It was supposed to be an exciting day we'd all look forward to, especially my dad, turned in one of the most traumatizing experiences someone could imagine. I know the media will cover this event. I'm going to try my best to stay away from looking at everything, especially because I've already seen and lived through it in real time. But I want everyone to know what the media will not cover and will not say about him. He was the best dad a girl could ever ask for. My sister and I never needed anything. You call, he would answer, and he would do whatever it is you needed. And if he didn't know how, he would figure out how. He could talk and make friends with anyone, which was what he was doing all day yesterday, and loved every minute of it. He was a man of God, loved Jesus fiercely, and also looked after our church and our members as family. The media will not tell you that he died a real-life superhero. They are not going to tell you how quickly he threw my mom and I to the ground. They are not going to tell you that he shielded my body from the bullet that came at us. He loved his family. He truly loved us enough to take a real bullet for us. And I want nothing more than to cry on him and tell him thank you. I want nothing more than to wake up and for this to not be a reality for me and my family. We lost a selfless, loving husband, father, brother, all because a bullet that came at us. He loved his family. And I will never stop thinking about him and mourning over him until the day that I die too. July 13th will be forever a day that changed my life, and I will never be the same person I was less than 24 hours ago. There are a lot of children out there that say their dad is their hero, but my dad really is mine. I don't think I would be here today without him. Dad, I love you so much, and there aren't enough words to express how deep that love goes. I know you'll give heaven some hell. I know that God is proud of the man that came to his gates yesterday." So peace to Allison and the Comparatori family. Here's a photo of the man. Prayers for Corey, handsome fella. And here's some more photos of him and his daughter. So, beautiful stuff. And of course, we'll do what we can to support him. You may have seen the GoFundMe linked in the description below, wherever it is you're watching this. There has been a lot of love going this way. This looks like it's the official GoFundMe here. You can see $3.2 million have already been raised here. Heritage Foundation donated 50 grand on it. So President Trump has authorized this account as a place to honor those wounded and killed. All donations will be directed to them so that they can grieve and recover. May God bless and unite our nation. So if you're interested in donating, it's going to them, and you can find the link in our description below. And so peace to Corey, peace to Corey's family, peace to the families of those who are injured. We wish them a speedy recovery. And we'll see Corey up there when it is time, but we appreciate him being a hero for his family at the final end when they needed it. Unbelievable. All right, so shout out to Corey. Now, let's continue on. I want to talk about some reaction from the media, and the lunatics all came out. The usual suspects were around, as we suspected they would be. Interesting story, saying that Democrats were trying to seed a narrative after the Trump assassination attempt. You see, the article comes from Semaphore. Something interesting happened here. Seems like they got on an email chain that maybe they shouldn't have had access to. Some people were trying to respond to this. We know how Democrats act. They create narratives to try to distort the truth. And so here the story tells us that top Democrat strategist pushed reporters to consider this as a staged shooting. Staged. Very curious. And who could possibly be behind the staging? You guessed it, my friends. It's going to be the Russians. Here's the scoop. Top political advisor to the Democratic mega donor, Reid Hoffman, who has funded the E. Jean Carroll lawsuit against Trump and who has shown up in the Epstein case many times, suggested that the attack on Donald Trump could have been staged. Reid Hoffman, even as Hoffman was criticized for joking before Saturday's attack about Trump becoming a martyr. And we saw that at there was a Silicon Valley type of meetup, I forget where it was being held, where Reid Hoffman said, "I wish I would have made Trump an actual martyr" before the shooting took place. He joked at last week's billionaire confab in Sun Valley. He says, I wished I had made Trump an actual martyr. But then on Sunday, after the assassination attempt, he said, I wasn't referring to actually shooting and killing the man. No. He said, first, there's no place for political violence in our society. So Reid Hoffman got the same stupid talking point that the rest of the Democrats are trying to shove down everybody's mouth. They're trying to call this political violence, like it's the summer of love with BLM having fiery but mostly peaceful protests. That was not this at all. This was also not a shooting. This was an assassination, a political assassination. Yes, it also was a shooting, and yes, it also was political violence. But an assassination attempt is not those other things. It is dramatically different in terms of scope, category, implications. It's not political violence like two people got into a brawl at a bar because someone wore a MAGA hat. Okay, this is an assassination. So they're all trying to now tone this down. They're trying to dumb this down. It's political. There's a dead person who got his head blown off, okay? There's other people who got shot, and it was by someone trying to take out Trump, not random people somewhere, right? As bad as that is. It had a political connotation to it. It's an assassination, but they're going to try to diminish that. Assassination is wrong, they said. Assassination is not only categorically wrong, but it's also the assassination of democracy. What? Okay, so he's saying it's yeah, it's wrong. It's abhorrent. So he's actually using the word assassinate a lot. But then he calls it political violence. So it's a soft confabulation, right? They don't just replace it. They water it down and mix it. They're all saying political violence, and it's not. It's an assassination. All right, so that's Reid Hoffman. Now, we go back to the story. Now, the scale of Hoffman's political donations isn't public, but the political advisor said in a recent private conference call, he said, Reid and I have invested 9 figures of our own money to prevent Trump from getting back into office. 9 figures, 3 sets of numbers with 2 commas. So smallest amount of money they're donating, $100 million, right? A lot. Now, after Semaphore published the story, Melhorn, the guy who's advising Reid Hoffman, apologized, saying that he drafted that without consultation from team members or allies, right? So Semaphore just published it. Now watch this. In an email that came out on Saturday at 7:34 p.m. that appeared to be addressed to sympathetic journalists, which was also sent to Semaphore, which is not going to be sympathetic. So Melhorn, right, late at night on Saturday, he's sending this email to a bunch of journalists. This guy who has 9 figures of political backing behind him in terms of money through Reid Hoffman. Emails a bunch of journos. This is the truth of what's happening here. And he writes one possibility in his email, and he thinks that Semaphore maybe is not on the list or it accidentally gets sent to them, but he thinks it's all a bunch of friendlies. He says, one possibility which feels horrific and alien and absurd in America, but is quite common globally, is that this, quote, shooting was encouraged and maybe even staged so Trump could get the photos and the benefit from the backlash, right? We predicted this yesterday. Clear. Watch this. This is a classic Russian tactic, such as when Putin killed 300 civilians in 1999 and blamed it on terrorists to ride the backlash to winning power. See that? These people are nuts. And we called this so hard yesterday, and I don't generally like to go back and say, oh, God, we called that one. But boy, oh boy, did we call that one hard. If they could tie this to Russia in any way, we said if they could tie the shooter to Russia, right, that would even be the icing on the cake. But Russia, everywhere we turn, they have nothing else to say. This is a classic Russian tactic. He should have said this has all the hallmarks of a classic Russian operation, like the 51 intelligence people. Saying others who have embraced this tactic of committing raw evil and then benefiting from the backlash includes Hamas, right? If any Trump officials encouraged or knew of this attack, that is morally horrific. And Republicans of decency must demand, watch, that Trump step down as unfit. So Trump staged him getting shot in the head. Yeah, just get close. Just hit it right here. No, not right here. No. Not over here. Okay, because if you go too far out here, I'm not going to bleed. And I need you to make me bleed. But if you go over here though, my brain's going to be exploded. So you understand what you need to do? Yes, sir, I understand. Okay, great. Wild. Now, the other possibility that Melhorn wrote is that some crazy anti-Trumper in this chaotic moment decide to assassinate Trump. Yeah, just some crazy person. He also co-founded the fund called Investing with USA with Hoffman. Melhorn made clear his impulse toward the false flag theory. He says, I know I'm prone to bias on this, but this is a classic Putin play. And given the facts, it seems more plausible. Look at the actual shot. Look at the staging. Look at how ready Trump is to the rally. This pampered baby, he says, poops his pants when an eagle lunged at his food. Look how quickly Trump protects himself at the expense of others, but showed few of those lifelong instincts in this moment. And consider how often Putin makes his allies run this play. Guy's a lunatic, an absolute demented lunatic. He continued, I know it feels yucky to discuss such a possibility, but in this case, the odds are high and are so high and the stakes are so consequential that we must ask the question. He wrote that he was disappointed that journalists were not already raising the possibility of a fake shooting. He says, ask the question, people. If it proves wrong, we should respond appropriately to a non-staged act of political violence as outlined above. But your credibility and our entire system of truth and justice depends on being certain of the answer. Now, so he sends this email. They publish it. Melhorn said in a response to a follow-up question that his words were not a public statement. And I'm not going to answer any questions about it. Okay, this is not a public statement, and I'm not going to answer any questions. So this dude just accidentally copied Semaphore on it, and Semaphore published this article. So this guy controls $100 million because he's buddy-buddy with Reid Hoffman, and they're going to now tell journos to start seeding in this staged story. Why aren't you asking this question? Blame the Russians. They think we are so dumb, we're so idiotic, that we'll just go, yeah, Trump shot himself. Literally. Trump literally shot himself because he wanted to fake the whole thing. We're dealing with lunatics, my friend, like absolute psychopathic people. And Reid Hoffman is one of them. Now, you'll notice the rest of the media was also trying to frame this. You don't have to be a genius, and you don't have to wait hours to learn that it was a shooting, okay? You don't have to be like a private investigator or smarter than Jake Tapper, okay? It's pretty, even Jake Tapper should be able to figure it out. I don't know if he was able to or not, but even he should figure it out. Here's the Washington Post. They have the photo and the video of Trump with blood on his face, and their headline is, Trump escorted away after loud noises at the Pennsylvania rally. Couple, little things popped off, morons. Here's NBC. Secret Service rushes Trump off stage after popping noises heard at the Pennsylvania rally. It's like, well, was that, even if it's in the first 5 minutes, you maybe say suspected gunshots, right? That would be more accurate. Popping noises? You think these were bottle rockets? He's got blood on his face. You got this one. Trump removed from the stage by Secret Service after loud noise startles the former president. Yeah. A gunshot will do that. And ABC, same thing, right? All these people they're copy pasters, as we mock them all the time here regularly because they're idiots. They just copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste. So somebody said loud noises, libs of TikTok, clip that one. Saw the same thing here from this fella here. This is from Inverse Kramer, not Jim Cramer. New York Times saying the same thing. Trump rushed off the stage after chaos at the rally the next day. It was an assassination attempt, you maniacs. It wasn't chaos. They tried to assassinate him with a bullet to the brain. Dishonest lunatics. All right, so we now know that the media will do everything it can to blame the other side. ABC News' Martha Raddatz says, Trump's supporters are probably responsible for a lot of this. And I was thinking about this earlier. No matter what Trump does, every time he opens his mouth, something bad happens. Haven't you noticed this? If he speaks, he's either going to incite an insurrection or get himself assassinated. No matter what he says, someone's going to die. It's either going to be someone else or himself, or maybe it's a judge that they make up. No one knows. But every time he speaks, someone dies, even if it's Trump. Trump's even getting himself shot. Unbelievable.
Also, George, we have to point out, no matter who the shooter, what the shooter's motives were, no matter who the shooter is, you are going to hear conspiracy theories going forward.
No question about that. But as you point out those statements from J.D. Vance and Vivek Ramaswamy, of course, President Trump and his supporters have contributed to this violent rhetoric as well.
Well, absolutely, George. We were just looking back this morning at some of the things that former President Trump has said. He warned last March of potential death and destruction if he were charged by the Manhattan District Attorney. Our country is being destroyed as they tell us to be peaceful. Trump in January warned of bedlam in the country if the criminal charges against him succeeded. And of course, in March, he said, now, if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath for the...
Guy just gets shot in the head. They run through a list of how Trump contributed to his own shooting in the head. Unreal, right?
Oh, that's going to be the least of it. It's going to be a bloodbath for the country. That will be the least of it. He said he was partly joking and that was taken out of context. But those are indeed his words. And you have heard it from supporters as well. And supporters are certainly in some parts angry. And let's remember January 6th in so many ways for the campaign.
Which was created by you and the media, which was instigated by the feds, with dozens crawling all over the place from the FBI, HSI, and many other agencies. Trump wanted 10,000 national security there. You didn't have that. Muriel Bowser denied the request.
January 6th will probably be in the background after yesterday's event. This is a very difficult time for this campaign. I'm sure this week in Milwaukee that President Trump will highlight this, and President Biden is going to have to figure out how to go forward with his campaign and what exactly they say.
Martha Raddatz, thanks very much. Let's bring it.
The worst of the worst, these people. So, New York Times also posted this one this morning. There's like zero even opportunity for grace at all. You can see what the print edition of the New York Times is running with this morning, saying he failed the test of leadership and betrayed America. And betrayed America. So that's just incredible, right? It's like, wow. Maybe they should shoot him again, I guess, since he betrayed America. You want to just like shoot him again, or what do you guys want to do about that? Like, what's your problem? So Joe Biden also said stuff similar, right? Donald Trump is a genuine threat to this nation. Genuine. He's a threat to our freedom. He's a threat to our democracy. He's literally a threat to everything that America stands for. Everything. So somebody should, I don't know, maybe shoot him, I guess. I don't know. I mean, what do you want? Sounds like stochastic encouragement of violence. It sounds like incitement to violence, doesn't it? Maybe the FBI will investigate them. I doubt it. Now, this was a weird one. This came over from Destiny, which I don't know if he's had any follow-up to this or not. I saw this was clipped. It looks like July 14th, 7/24. I got to tell you, at least this one's honest. Okay? At least it's honest. Destiny, the omni-liberal, says, a person in a crowd cheering for and supporting a traitor to this country caught astray. I'm so sad, please. Dude's dead, right? So I don't know if he's disavowed this or deleted this or what, but at least it's honest, okay? AOC comes out and says, I wish him a speedy recovery. Nancy Pelosi comes out, I hope he gets well soon. Liz Cheney and all these other people, let's calm down the political violence. No, they want him dead. They talk about it. Joe Biden, he's danger to the democracy. He's going to take away your freedoms. Somebody who's coming to take away my freedoms and wreck American democracy, I'm not like wishing them well, wishing them a speedy recovery, to be honest with you. So if Destiny is saying this, I believe it's probably how he feels, right? It's pretty sick that he's okay with somebody being shot in the head, I guess. But I do believe he thinks that, right, okay, he thinks Trump's a traitor. He thinks Trump's Hitler, probably, Nazi, going to wreck American democracy. At least it's honest. It's sick and disgusting, obviously, but at least it's honest. All of the rest of them are good. Wild. Now, to be perfectly honest with you, I hope that this person ultimately figures it out and he realizes that living this way with this type of basically, evilness in your heart, wishing people to die, kind of a strange thing, strange perspective. Hopefully he figures that out because it's not a fun way to live, not a good way to live. DC Drano also posted this. Shout out to DC Drano. You know who he is. Says, y'all remember when Alex Soros posted this? Yeah, we do. We talked about it here. Remember Alex Soros, the son of George Soros? Said last year the crime and inflation crisis largely evaporated. So did the leading theories about what caused them. And he posted a whole thing. But you'll notice he also shared this. It was a bullet hole and some cash, which when you add them up, amount to 47. So a bullet hole for 47. A bullet hole for Trump. Well, Trump got one right in the head. So here is another one, right? Remember people like Jeff Bezos? Yesterday we were sharing their posts. He said, our former president showed tremendous grace and courage under literal fire tonight. So thankful for his safety and so sad for the victims and their families. Right? And, I'm sure Jeff Bezos doesn't have a lot of real interest or care about what the Washington Post is doing. Seems like he's a lot more interested in his new lady friend. But they posted this. This one came over from Mostly Peaceful Meme. Says, Jeff, this is your newspaper. Hello. Here's an opinion piece from Mike Godwin, obviously a part of the problem. Says, yes, it's okay to compare Trump to Hitler. Don't let me stop you. Okay, on and on and on. On and on. Don't let me stop you. Our former president showed tremendous grace and courage under literal fire tonight. Yeah. And Bezos is right, but a lot of the media entities are responsible for the condition of our country. And just by the way, also, Chase Geyser, okay, he clipped this from Destiny, and he challenged him to a duel. A lawful duel, by the way, under Texas Penal Code 2206, which is very curious. So we've now followed him. I thought I was following him before, but that's very curious. So I challenged the omni-liberal to a lawful duel under the Texas Penal Code. Wow. Sounds like, I wonder if he'll accept. Let's see. I'm not sure we're going to find any information. I wonder if there'll be an acceptance. But maybe not. All right. So, yeah, very curious times out there. Weird folks posting strange things. As you saw, Elon got this one right. He said CNN was reporting on the incident with Caesar. Caesar was only injured. This is how CNN reported the attack on Caesar. Caesar was injured in a group hug. Just like when Trump was escorted off the stage because of some loud noises. Very interesting. Now, more reaction. Some here from Frank Luntz. He says, all right, you know Frank Luntz. He's the guy who was sharing bunk beds with Kevin McCarthy. Says, I'm getting swamped by emails from reporters and officials asking how the Trump assassination attempt will affect the election. So here's my response. He says, Saturday's shooting in Pennsylvania will still have huge impact on Election Day, no doubt. It will guarantee that every Trump supporter now will be a Trump supporter in November. Yes, so the foundation is hardened, right? All the concrete of the election that was still kind of being manipulated has now settled and cured. So people who were still playing the political game, who were still, well, I wonder what the second debate sounds like, and I'm going to see what his policy is on this, and I'm still curious about, no, they're done. I'm just voting Trump. I don't even need to think about it anymore. That dude is a hero. That's end of story. So it's solidified. I agree with that. In recent months, Trump has benefited more from passionate and engaged followers than the Biden campaign. Yes, this is the enthusiasm gap, the energy gap. But the shooting will turn the intensity gap into a chasm. Absolutely. People will I think even Megyn Kelly said she'll drag herself across broken glass to go vote for him now. Absolutely, no doubt. The participation gap is worth at least +1 or +2. And the enthusiasm, right? Who's going to show up on the polls on Election Day? And this is what was a big problem in 2020 because COVID suppressed the day of turnout, right? It's about enthusiasm and energy. Who can get the most people activated? Trump's people are going to be activated. And because the shooting happened in Pennsylvania, the impact will be most significant in Pennsylvania. That's a great point. That's a great point. Yeah, I mean, Pennsylvania will be hearing about this more than anybody. Maybe that's a hard red for Pennsylvania. Now, Trump's defiant pose, fist in the air as he was being led off the stage bleeding, will be the visual people remember at the polling booth when they think about 2024. Do you want America to look like this across the world? When America gets hit, do you want America standing up and looking proud and fighting back in the face of perseverance, in the face of whatever you think, Putin or China or whatever, terrorism? All right, that's what you want. That's the visual you want. The opposite visual is Joe Biden dying on a debate stage. What do you, it's not even close. So they continue. And Frank Luntz is right. He says, it's hard to imagine either Biden or any of the potential Democratic candidates delivering a full-throated, crowd-pleasing attack on the former president now, taking away most of their ability to play the Trump card by labeling him a threat to democracy. It's basically gone. When he just survived a real threat to democracy. Exactly right. And the 2024 president's election is now Trump's to lose, from Frank Luntz. And I think that's a lot of people have shifted into that category. And I also think it freezes any challenges to Joe Biden. Nobody's going to want to run against Trump now. You think Gavin Newsom is going to want to come in here? Trump is like an unstoppable force. This just solidifies it. What Democratic candidate is going to go like, yeah, I'm going to run against this train right now? You have to be suicidal. You have to be nuts you lose. You'll obviously lose. So they're just going to hand it to Joe Biden. He's going to be the fall guy. Here you go. And he'll just go down with the sinking ship. So, wild. And Frank is even on board with that. Now, Kelly Paul was responding to Nancy Pelosi. This was interesting. Kelly Paul, the wife of Rand Paul, you know who he is, was responding to Nancy Pelosi. We played this tweet from Nancy yesterday. And she said, as one of those family whose family has been the victim of political violence, because remember, her husband had that weird thing with the dude with the hammer at 2 a.m. He had that cocktail glass with him, and that dude had a hammer. And then he called the police and then didn't tell the police to come, really. Weird. Then he got hit in the head with a hammer. It was weird. I know firsthand what political violence of any kind has no place in our society. Okay, but that wasn't an assassination attempt. I thank God that former President Trump is safe. You do? Because you called him Hitler. As we learn more about details about this horrifying incident, let us pray that all those in attendance are unharmed. So she was late on the news. Someone's dead. So Kelly said, your daughter, Christine, Nancy, tweeted that the lunatic who assaulted my husband, Rand Paul, and broke 6 of his ribs was right to attack him on the same day that Rand was literally gasping to breathe from his injuries. All right. So don't send your little fake words of kindness our direction. We don't buy them. That's from Kelly Paul. We also had some more reaction from Ron DeSantis. He says, Biden tells us to trust the bureaucracy to investigate the assassin's motive. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. He says, but the feds categorize the crazed leftist congressional baseball shooter as just suicide by cop. Remember that? Yeah. Even though the shooter had a well-documented left-wing political bent, made sure the players on the field were Republicans before attacking. We also had that one, too. And there does need to be an investigation regarding the security protocols used in Butler. The answer to the following question must be provided in short order. How did someone armed with a rifle get on top of the roof 150 yards away from the stage? Ron speaking at the RNC. DC bureaucratic failures almost never result in any accountability. This time needs to be different. Our country is in peril. It's in partly because the DC ruling class has consistently evaded responsibility for its failures. Josh Hawley also responded to this, says, I am now formally demanding from the Senate a full investigation by the Senate Homeland Security Committee into the massive security failure that resulted in an attempt on President Trump's life and the murder of an innocent American. Hawley says, all right, listen, Chairman Peters, Senate Homeland Security Committee. Dear Chairman, yesterday the world witnessed an attempt on Trump's life, the former president and presumptive nominee. Trump has stated he was shot in the upper part of his ear. He was nearly killed. One civilian at the Pennsylvania rally was murdered and 2 were critically injured. There is no place for this egregious violence in our republic. These events warrant an immediate, comprehensive, and public congressional investigation. Although we still do not have all the facts, the little that we do know suggests a staggering security failure. Evidently, the shooter was able to gain an elevated position on a rooftop with a clear line of sight of the president, well within accurate range, with a firearm. The details of this tragedy must be vigorously investigated by Congress, including the motive of the shooter and the serious operational failures that occurred. These matters fall squarely within our jurisdiction, and so I call on you to launch a full, public, and comprehensive committee investigation into this assassination attempt and failures to adequately protect the former president. Now, as just a reminder, the Democrats are in control of the Senate. So this is very nice politically from Josh Hawley. He's sending this over to Gary Peters, saying, it's your obligation, it's your duty now, to call this up for further inquiry. Will you do that, Chairman Peters? Will you? Do you care about assassination attempts or not? Answer, not. They're Democrats. What do they care? It's Trump. This committee investigation must include public testimony, hearings, robust oversight over the federal departments and how they responded. Sworn testimony must be heard from Alejandro Mayorkas, Homeland Security, and Kimberly Cheadle, and nothing should be classified or withheld from the public. Our prayers are with President Trump, the family of the slain American, and the innocent civilians who were injured. We owe it to the Americans, to the victims and the American people to get to the bottom of what happened. We have questions, and the American people deserve answers. From Josh Hawley. And finally, before we hear from you, my friends, we have Speaker Johnson, who is out on the media waves today. Here is what he said in the aftermath of the assassination attempt.
It is. America awakens to a rather surreal morning. This is a horrific act of political violence that ought to be roundly condemned. Obviously, we can't go on like this as a society. Our prayers are with President Trump, all the rally attendees, certainly the family of the individual that lost their life and those who were injured. We have gotten briefings from law enforcement. I spoke to Secretary Mayorkas last night and asked him some pointed questions with regard to Homeland Security and what happened there. I've already announced that Congress will do a full investigation of the tragedy yesterday to determine where there were lapses in security and anything else that the American people need to know and deserve to know. But in the meantime, we've got to turn the rhetoric down. We've got to turn the temperature down in this country. We need leaders of all parties on both sides to call that out and make sure that happens so that we can go forward and maintain our free society that we all are blessed to have. It is. America.
All right, so that was Mike Johnson and Congress, and they're going to be looking into this. We know the House of Representatives is controlled by the Republicans, so we expect probably some pretty quick action from them. In fact, we saw yesterday that James Comer has already sent letters out. So their committee will get moving quickly, but in the Senate, will the Democrats act? Probably not. What Josh Hawley did and what I think other senators will do, hopefully Rand Paul joins in on this, is create that wedge issue. Say, Democrats, this was a national crisis that happened, almost a catastrophe, and we want answers. Will you help us get them? The Democrats, of course, will turn around and say, we're not really interested in that. It's going to make them look like petty, vindictive Democrats, because that's what they are. And we'll see what Schumer says tomorrow. So, my friends, what an update. So much stuff is going on. We're still waiting for more details. There were also some other press briefings and some other things that took place today, but we didn't get a lot of answers from them, so we kind of skipped some of those highlights. But now, my friends, let us hear from you. Thank you so much for sending in these amazing donos and super chats. It's a beautiful Sunday. I hope your week end is coming to a nice, easy close. I know it was a stressful weekend, so hopefully you were able to calm those nerves down a little bit. Let's see who is joining us on the day. And we have our friends over on the YouTubes. Let's see who's joining us on the... Hey, Jason on Blast. What's up? Jason on Blast is here. Hey, he says, thanks for the extra shows in difficult and important times. Oh my gosh, Jason. It's my honor to be here, hanging out with you, talking through this stuff. It's history in the making. The fact that we get to have these conversations as it's all unfolding is just incredible. Hey, Uncivil Law is in the house. What's up, Uncivil? Good to see you, my friend. Thanks for swinging by. Uncivil Law, my friends, you know who he is. He's right next door at Uncivil Law on YouTube's and elsewhere. Says, thanks for the recent support and love for my friend Joe Neerman getting to 100K. We appreciate you. Thank you, Uncivil, man. That was super fun. And did you see it? I'm sure you did. We filled in for you when you got up there for a minute. So it's good to see you, my friend. And we'll be looking forward to connecting soon. Thanks for stopping by and saying that. Shout out to Joe. And I think I saw Joe send one in too. What's up, Joe? We got JB says, are conservatives going to finally demand something for their vote? Like demand the GOP stop signing checks until we have a secure border? Anything? Well, I think we got to win first. So I think if we win, we're going to get a lot of the things we want. Don't know that we're going to get everything that we want, but I think we'll get a lot more of what we want than currently. Hey, what's up? Uncle Ruckus became a new member. Thank you, Uncle Ruckus, for becoming a member on the day. Great to have you. And we'll see you tomorrow. We're going to do a members-only morning stream tomorrow. Time TBD. Probably same time. We got this one from Voice of the People. Says, this has been insane to watch happen. I have so many questions I need answers to, but no, we'll never get. Yeah, what's been interesting about this shooter's name is that apparently there's like no social media. Everything seems like it doesn't exist or has been scrubbed. We're not seeing virtually any sign of a presence, which is strange, especially in this day and age if you're a 20-year-old dude. What's up, Hope Arising? Says, thank you for being here with us through this crazy weekend. I think we all needed you to calm us down and be a voice of reason. Here's a little secret, Hope. I needed you. Thanks for being here with us to go through it. I'm like, what's going on? This is crazy. This is American history, like happening in real time, and it's surreal. So I'm really glad we got to go through it. Thanks, Hope. We got this one from Leon Lately in the house. Says, thanks be to God. President Trump is alive. My sincere condolences to the patriot who lost his life yesterday, Corey. Sending love from Dublin, Ireland to all Trump supporters. Please support Robert. Thank you for that, Leon. Yeah, and my friends, honestly, there's some great ways to support those in need. And we shared the links in our description below, wherever it is you're watching this. Hey, what's up? Hope Arising brought in a new membo. Thanks, Hope Arising. And you know who you are. Welcome aboard. We'll see you on the membos only streams, Hope. Hey, what's up? It's Good Logic. Good Logic. Man, you're so great. Good Logic. Look at this. First of all, very nice dono. Thank you for that. Says, yeah, Good Logic's the man. Says, first time I ever spoke to Rob, I had 1,500 subs. He spent an hour by phone pushing me to keep plowing when YouTube denied my monetization. On Friday, he stopped his stream for my final push over 100K. Thank you. You're an awesome friend, content creator, lawyer, and human. Good Logic. Oh, man. Thanks for saying that, man. Look, I'm honored to be in the company of amazing people like Good Logic. Good Logic is a real force of nature, and I mean that genuinely. We've had some great conversations, and he's great. So I'm just thrilled to be able to help Good Logic. That's all. Happy to see you do well, my friend. Thanks for stopping by. You've always been very supportive of us. I know you send love back our way. So I feel like I'm honored to be in your company. And I hope we have many, many years together and a lot more future success, because we're here trying to save our country together. And I want more people involved in that. I want more people to be on the right side of history. And I know you're doing amazing work. So I'm happy to be in your company, my friends. My friend, thanks for saying that. And thanks for the nice dono. I appreciate that. We got this one from Mark. Do you actually think this will make the GOP fight? I think it will take a lot of the GOP fight against Trump out of them. So it's going to be the reverse of what's happening with Biden. So there's going to be a lot less people who want to challenge or to replace Joe Biden, because nobody's going to want to compete with the Trump juggernaut. Same thing's going to happen on the right. All the whiners, all the people, Trump, they're going to see the same thing. They're going to say, okay, writing's on the wall here. We better shut up. I think Trump's going to get, he's going to be seen as the heir apparent. He's going to be seen as the next person coming in. And once you have that, once everybody recognizes that Big T's in the room now, I think that a lot of the friction, a lot of the people putting speed bumps in front of him will slowly start to evaporate away, just like Biden's challenges will. What's up, Kelly R? Says, hey, 5 membos coming in. Thank you, Kelly R, for bringing in the 5 membos. And I can't see exactly who they are, but I know they're grateful to join us. And you know who you are, friends. Make sure you thank Kelly R for your invite. We got Quoeth Anon. Says, Ephesians 6:15, for shoes, put on the peace that comes from the good news so that you will be fully prepared. For shoes, put on the peace that comes from the good news so that you will be fully prepared. Ephesians 6:15. Good news capitalized, so like the good news of the Lord. What's going on? Revco says, strong argument for divine intervention on this one. 1/10 of a second. A miracle, right? Divine intervention. He just goes like this, avoids getting shot. Unreal. ELF is in the house. What's up, Elf? Thanks for bringing in 10 new membos. And the 10 membos, you know who you are. Elf brought you in. So when you're watching the members only streams, remember to think about Elf. What a great person Elf is. Amazing. Hey, Jeffrey Adams. Eric Prince is the founder of Blackwater. That's right. That's what I forgot. And he didn't have it in his bio. Where do I know this guy from? That's right. What's up? Thank you, Jeffrey Adams, for that one. We had this one from Albert Chrisman. Says the Dems screwed up. They made Trump bleed his own blood. You made me bleed my own blood. Yeah. Not good. Don't want to do that. Because then he's now, you don't want to make me angry. You've made me angry. What's up, Brooks Kelly? He was only a 7-iron away from Trump. Yeah, I'm not a golfer, right? But you could easily hit that, right? 7-iron. I don't know. That's what I was thinking. I'm like, you could, right? That's not that far. What's going on, Kelly R says, did you see that Benny Johnson showed the pastor who said he was shown this would happen back in March? I did see some of that. Yeah, I think I watched that clip. Maybe from Benny Johnson. Yeah. Some pastor basically predicted this, said Trump was going to get shot, fall down, have this resurrection, this rebirth, this new sort of rebirth with Christianity. Wild prediction. The fact that dude nailed that is wild. Hey, what's up? Bruce Probert. Bruce Probert. I don't know how to pronounce your last name. There's a funny story in law school. I had a substitute professor come in and pronounce my name Robert. I'm like, it's Robert. She's like, oh, it's not Robert? I'm like, no, it's Robert. But your name might be Probert. I don't know. Or it could be Probert. I don't know. Anyways, thanks for becoming a member either way. Glad to see you. We got this one from Mima. What's up, Mima? Says, did you know that? Crazy. From the Gateway Pundit report. Secret Service resources were diverted to Jill Biden's Saturday campaign event in Pittsburgh and away from Trump's. Many agents assigned to Trump were temporary replacements. I did not know that. Yeah, and I think there's going to be a lot of people inquiring about this. What were all the changes that happened right before? Who made those changes? Why were those changes made? Were there any resource shifts? I mean, the other guy just said, Guglielmi, that we just read from the Secret Service, said they added resources. So, okay, why did you add resources then? Why didn't you add a lot more? And how many did you have at the outset? Why did you have so few? A lot of questions like that. Mima, thanks for the nice dono too. Great to have you here. We have this one from Test Channel Wow. Says, Destiny called Corey Compatore, the hero firefighter killed at the rally, a retard on Twitter. Wow. Is he like okay? Is that person like okay? I've watched some of his debates. I watched a little bit of him with Jordan Peterson, I think it was, and he didn't seem that insane, but maybe things have changed since then. JC says, Rob, don't forget a hole in the jacket on the chest. I saw the hole, but I haven't heard anything about that being a gunshot. But I did see that hole. I don't know what that was from. And I also heard stuff like maybe a bullet went through the teleprompter, glass broke. I don't know. But it's very curious. Hey, this one came in from Jeremiah Greger. What's up, Jeremiah? Says, it's Trump's fault, okay? Not the talking heads on the so-called news networks that have said he needs to be taken out. Yeah, or Dan Goldman saying he needs to be eliminated. Or thank you, Pritchie, for the membo. Hey, what up? What's up, Pritchie? Thanks for the membo. Yeah, everything is Trump's fault. Every time he speaks, someone's going to die, even if it's him. So he shouldn't be able to speak. Hey, Zulu's here. Says, there are claims of failed super chats, which isn't any good. That's not good. Should register Democrat and get the free speech super chat perks. Is that what you have, Zulu? Are you a registered Democrat? I don't know. They seem to be working on my end. I think we're getting them loud and clear. So hopefully the super chats are working, but I guess Zulu gets free super chat perks courtesy of YouTube. Is that what they do? Zulu says treason. I don't know what's YouTube or what. Good to see you, Zulu. Thanks for modding the fort down. K Bean is here. Voice of the People wants a strong argument as to how this isn't treason. The assassination attempt? I guess the assassination attempt being treason? I mean, I guess you could make the argument that it is. A strong argument as to how this isn't treason. Well, I mean, an American citizen taking out their own leader, maybe working on, yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of the definition of treason, right? So here, let's take a look. Yeah, it's like the kind of the definition of treason. So I don't think I can do that, actually. It's like betraying your country, treason. So I think you can do that on behalf of a foreign enemy or perhaps on behalf of your own entity. But here, let me share this screen because I just looked up the definition of treason. And so let's just look at it together and see what it says. So as we can see, this is the definition. It says, the offense of attempting by overt acts, like shooting someone, to overthrow the government of a state or to kill or personally injure the sovereign or the sovereign's family. Okay, so maybe the example would be, if we use this definition, Trump's not the president. So I think that's the example. You want, it's not treason, Trump's not the president. Trump is just a candidate. So he's not the president, so it's not an actual offense against the state yet. It's just an offense against a private citizen who wants to be the state. So it's not treason. It's just an assassination attempt. That would be my example. We have this one. Thanks, K Bean. This one came in from Kelly R. says those saying YouTube AI censors are blocking SC and comments on vids. Really? Okay, so that's what's happening. Yes, it's happening. It happened on a non-political channel to me today. Certain people, I believe, are flagged, as are certain words. So they're not going through. Interesting. I wonder what words those are. Someone should take a screenshot. Send me an email. And I'd be curious to see what it looks like. Jennifer, what's up? Says, thanks, Rob. Also, let the fam know that YouTube won't let us super chat the word treason. Weird. Kind of strange. It's not a swear word. Okay, so that's more specificity. So you can't say treason. But that's interesting because didn't K Bean just said it? Yeah, there it is. K Bean just said it. Huh. So maybe it's only you. Maybe they're just worried about you, Kelly R. Yeah, and you, Jennifer. They're like, Jennifer might be actually committing treason. But I don't know, K Bean, no, I'm not, nobody here commits treason, okay? Everybody here is law-abiding. But if you're going to, I know K Bean has some very good skill sets that would be useful. But we would never do that here because we're law-abiding. Spud says, Hollywood will double down and they can't lose. Hollywood will double down, they can't lose. It's a good idea, Spuds. Hey, Ellen Thompson says, thank you, I appreciate the perception. Thank you for saying that, Ellen Thompson. Thanks for being a member for 2 months as well. Great to have you here. We got Brian Cardoza. Robert, as always, your details in video and print media is awesome in an insane world. Thank you. Thank you, Brian. Thanks for saying that. I love going through all the details, just kind of going down these rabbit holes and assembling all the links and all the clips. So I have a lot of fun. I feel like we're getting a ton of knowledge. We're hopefully learning some useful things. What's going on, LB? New membo, LB. Thanks for becoming a new membo over on the YouTubes. Same to you, John. John H., good to see you. We have a members-only stream coming up tomorrow morning, so new members, we'll see you tomorrow. We got Spud says, hey, good logic. It's all about track suits and polo shirts. Yes, we're going to lead the polo revolution to make America great again and look great again. Hey, Leslie A. says, thank you. God and Red Beard saved Trump. Prayers. Yeah, it was a very, very close call. Good to see you, Leslie. Thanks for that one. Linda, what's up, Linda? Thanks for sending this in. No comment on that, but thanks for the nice dono. Very appreciative. And Kathy B, what's up, Kathy? 4 months as a membo, saying treason from Kathy B. 4 months as a membo. And Joe's in the house, says, did you see the tangled flag at the rally? It looks like an angel. Amazing imagery. Look it up. I did see that. Yeah, the flag was kind of twisted up, and it had like a looked like somebody was like this, like, you know, like an angel type of a thing. It was pretty interesting. Thanks, Joe, for sending that one in. And my friends, amazing donos. I really do appreciate all of them. Let's say hello to our friends on X. And I think I saw some donos coming in over on the locals. And so let's see what's happening on locals. Yeah, wow, here's one. Okay, so this one came in from No Cowakin. Says, let me share this. Oops, here we go. From No Cowakin. So this is over on our locals, my friends. We have an awesome community on locals. You can see some great comments here. A lot of activity here. We'd love to have you join us. Come on over, watchingthewatchers.locals.com. So No Cowakin says, I read many comments on YouTube and many liberals were, quote, sorry that they missed. I saw that. Yeah, pretty sick people. Angel says, golfing is his best way to relax and unwind over just about everything. Hey, Sergeant GPS says, Rob, thanks for the stream tonight. I've had so much angst these last 36 hours, been a pendulum between anger and sadness. God, I know, man. It's like an emotional onslaught. I totally understand it, Sergeant. Glad to decompress a little with you all. Trump 2024. Same, Sergeant. Same. We're getting debriefed together and keep it together. Angel says, thank you, Robert, for keeping us up to date on everything. Definitely still loving your brain. Thanks, Angel, for saying that. Yeah, I don't know about my brain having anything to do with anything, but I'm glad to be going through this with you together. Bonnie says, my guess is all the Dems will be backing Joe in name only, but they'll hardly mention Biden in the campaign speeches. They will be focusing on winning their own seats. I agree with that. I think that the Biden challenges, the Biden debates, they're just going to start saying, all right, look, dude, this guy is going to get obliterated. So politically. So we're just going to focus on our own stuff. The House, the Senate, the money will come back, but it's going to go to them. I think that there's going to be a real push. The point, like, who are they going to swap Joe with? That's the real concern. I don't think they have anybody. Jay Dizzle says, since we know how much surveillance they have over all of us, you can't tell me that they didn't know. Seems sensible. Nutter says, the fist pump and everyone yelling USA was the most powerful thing I've ever seen. It's up there. It's up there. After watching somebody get shot, you wonder how can someone have so much courage and fortitude to just do that instinctively. We have Boopsy says, I heard this was Trump's SSB team. That his A team was at the convention location. Maybe. Lady I says, I have been to that same place in Butler, Pennsylvania for a dog show years ago. Crazy times. We had Not Brandon says, Rob, you need to see the video of him floundering on the roof while the people are alerting the police. That's the first domino that failed. Rabica says, Candace Owens talking about how she thinks men should have been protecting Trump. That's a good link over there. Nutter says, Fox News needs to be on blast also for downplaying the story. Terry B sending in some emojis. Thank you, Terry B, for that. Very nice dono. And I don't know what that emoji was, but I'm sure it was amazing. Thank you, Terry B, for sending in and supporting us over on Locals. Bonnie says, even Nikki Haley will be speaking at the RNC. So yes, even the never Trumpers are going to come around. No doubt. Rub some dirt on it says, thanks, Rob, for all you do. And thanks to the whole Watcher family. I spent the day helping others deal with their feelings about what happened, trying to make sense of things. You are an amazing source of detail and an even better comrade. Thanks for that. Rub some dirt on it. Yeah, having a lot of fun. Going through, it's not a fun topic, but I mean, I'm enjoying the process of learning and debriefing with you versus being holed away, talking through these things in my own mind, right? It's a lot more, I think, toxic in that way. We want to get it out, air it out, have conversations about it, and move forward. So thanks for Rub some dirt on it. Londo says, the only benefit to a claim of treason would be more strongly to condemn the left and the media for trying to minimize it. And Spud shared this one from Scott Lobedo. He says, my overnight therapy. And I can't believe he did that in one night. Dude's out of this world. Unreal. And an epic painting. Oh, gosh. All right. So amazing stuffs. Comments over from Locals. And so we will, of course, we're going to head on over to Locals. And we'll take some of those comments exclusively on Locals, some of the remaining comments over there. And so if you want to come and join us, that is where we will be heading right now. And we'd love to have you come over and join us to wrap it up on the day, my friends. But let's see. Hey, what's up, Joe? Joe says, you so handsome. Love you, dog. Well, thank you for that, Joe. I think you're handsome back, my friend. Thanks for being here. Voice of the People says, let's see now. Use Cornell law definition as it's exactly what's written. Brother, from Voice. Joe, and yeah, saw that one from Joe. Good to see you guys. All right, so, my friends, we are going to leave it there on this Sunday evening. Thank you for joining us. I know there's been a lot going on, so hopefully we are all feeling our nerves and our bodily systems all returning to baseline, and we'll close out the Sunday nicely, get some great sleep, come back tomorrow on Monday, ready to start the RNC convention, ready to get back to work, remain energized, and support Trump as he leads the RNC into this new campaign cycle that we're about to embark on. A lot's going to change from here on out, and I'm grateful that we get to go through it together. So thank you for joining us, my friends. We are going to go on over and check out Locals, and so I would love to see you come and join us over there. But if not, we're going to see you right back here tomorrow on Monday to get into it again. And in order to do that, we're going to need to see you right back here so that together, with your help, we can shine that big, beautiful spotlight of accountability and transparency down upon our system with the hope of finding justice. Make it a beautiful night, my friends. Locals, stick around. We'll see you in just a minute. Everyone else, have the sweetest of dreams you can ever possibly imagine. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Bye-bye.